What's going on, guys? Meteorologist Jonathan Kegges back with you on a Monday. Happy Labor Day to everybody. Hope everybody was able to enjoy the day. I know we had some rain across parts of the area. Great to be back with you guys. I missed everybody on the stream, but we're back better than ever as we get ready to roll into the next 30 minutes. We're here every Monday through Friday live on the News 6 YouTube channel and, of course, on News 6 Plus to talk about the weather across the state of Florida and during hurricane season. Of course, an in-depth breakdown of what's going on in the tropics and, of course, your comments, your questions. So post those in the comments. Hey, Elizabeth, good to see you. Susie Q, my friend, how you doing? Jody, what's going on? Hope you're doing well tonight. Barbara, the theme, I don't think it's a bad day tomorrow at Legoland, and the same thing goes for Jody if you're trying to go to Animal Kingdom tomorrow. The theme is you're not out of the woods for downpours. However, the further west you are, the drier it is going to be. The further east you are, the better shot for rain we are going to have. So we're going to get all into that when we take a look at the Florida forecast over the next couple of minutes. And over the next 30 minutes, we're going to break down what's going on here, why it was such a crummy day along the coast as a weak low of low pressure formed along our stalled front. You just saw the surface map there. And we'll send back those downpours continuing into tomorrow, maybe a little bit into Wednesday. On the tropical front, it is relatively quiet for September standards. Typically on Labor Day, there is a lot of stuff out there. But like last year, I think we're going to bottle up the hurricane season into a 4 to 6 week period that likely gets going. I mean, we may get a name storm with that thing off of Africa, but I think most of it's going to be bottled up in a 4 to 5 to maybe 6 week window that gets started in the middle of September. We're going to take a look at that. If you received the inbox or if you received the email in your inbox, you know a little bit about what I'm watching over the next couple of weeks. But right now, there is one wave to watch. By the way, thanks to our friends at WeatherStem for the live looks across the state of Florida. Above my head is Daytona Beach, and you see the wet lens. Tropical storm force. Is that kind of, I mean, it looked like that when we were on the sky cams today and we were tracking everything along the coast. I know Melissa mentioned it feels like a hurricane out there. It's gusty. Wind gusts 30, 35 miles an hour along the coast, driving rain and those downpours, and then a much drier look there in Palm Beach below me in the Brady Bunch box. So again, here's the weather setup before we kind of get into the story or into the forecast, because I want to set the stage here and set the groundwork for why it's so kind of ugly across the Atlantic coast. Now, again, my friends in Marion County, if I have anybody tuning in from Sumter or Lake, it's been pretty good today. It's been pretty good over the weekend. That is because most of this is kind of focusing right along the I-95 corridor. So there are some of those downpours right along the front. And I'm going to give you a high definition look here, high resolution look, and we'll go to our actual radar picture and track some of these bad boys. Again, these are the downpours coming through. The heaviest rain left New Smyrna Beach in this last round. Also left Ponce Inlet. Daytona Beach, we're kind of getting it right now. Holly Hill, Ormond Beach, these are just to your south and east. We have a couple of itty-bitty downpours around Titusville on Merritt Island, Port St. John as well, Cocoa Beach. If anybody's tuning in from Cocoa, good evening. Also Palm Bay, Melbourne, we have a few downpours around town. Let me take you back to the west real quick, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. Now, this is going to tell the story here. So what I'm going to do is I am going to look at the rainfall over the last 12 hours, and you can clearly see here, again, look at the chart or look at the legend. Let me get my telestrator out. And anywhere you see the green, that's where we had some of the bigger rain totals, relatively speaking, today come on through. So hardly anything in Marion County, maybe a sprinkle in parts of Lake and Sumter, just a trace. Claremont, we had a couple of downpours roll through, but just a little bit in the rain gauge. So it didn't really ruin the barbecue too much. Here's where we had the heaviest stuff. We were tracking these downpours all night on the newscast or all afternoon from 4 to 6:30. And there we go. Again, anywhere from a half inch to up to an inch and a half around New Smyrna Beach. About an inch of rain today, just with those downpours sneaking on shore. Here we go on a Merritt Island, half inch, give or take. If anybody has a rain gauge and has an official report, I'd be happy to share that. Just post that in the comments. If you're watching on News 6 Plus, a lot of people also dial up YouTube on their phone and comment. There's also a comment section if you got the push alert that came through a little bit ago. There's a chat box in there. I can bring that chat over. So, a lot of ways to stay connected across the board. Kimberly says that no rain up in Interlaken and Putnam. Gusts were, so it stayed cooler. The gusty winds, though, so it was cooler. Yeah, it felt pretty good outside, especially if you were into the clouds a little bit more and had that breeze. We're starting to turn the corner. But none of that fall stuff that our friends to the north had last weekend and that they're likely going to get again this week. So we're going to, of course, miss out. It's still a little bit too early for our fronts to slide through. It's also chewing up the beaches a little bit. The wave heights, especially on Volusia County, Flagler County, and then up into St. Johns County and up the southeast corner of the United States, those are going to continue. What? Just fast forwarded right on through. Let me go back to my high resolution radar. So here we go at 9 o'clock, and the high resolution stuff. You see that swirl there? See that swirl and the arrows right off the coast? That's what's sending all of those downpours back in. So this is 9 o'clock tonight. So future radar doing a very nice job. It pinpointed that downpour that came through New Smyrna Beach in Volusia County a little bit ago. So here we go as we move into tomorrow morning. That's 2 o'clock. We'll get you to Legoland and the attractions. We had a couple of questions on Disney and Legoland. So here's 11 o'clock, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. So we're kind of focused on those two areas that we had the question. The downpours focusing along into the east of I-4 for the most part. Let's take this out a little bit further. And there we go at 2 o'clock. So there's a downpour around Lakeland at 2, and also around the attractions. But the deal with that is they're going to be quick hitting. They're not going to be long lasting like they are along the coast. So if you have a plan to go to the attractions tomorrow, whether it's Legoland in Lakeland or Disney, Universal, SeaWorld, wherever, you're looking okay. You may get a downpour, but it's not going to last too terribly long, I don't think. And then again, scattered downpours continue. There's 7 o'clock as they kind of push a little bit further to the west, I think a little more west than today. You see the scattered downpours through South Florida, Port St. Lucie, Fort Lauderdale, into Miami, and all that. I have not had my second cup of coffee today. I have not. I actually need to order some more. I've been putting that off. I've been in complete just kind of chill vacation mode that I need to need to get back to reality and do the stuff to function on a daily basis. Here are the high temperatures tomorrow, by the way. As you might imagine, with the extra breeze, the clouds, and a couple of downpours out there, temperatures are going to be a little cooler. Tampa 90, 87 in Pensacola, 88 in Tallahassee, 84 in Jacksonville. Naples, we are at 89. Miami, we are the only spot above average in the temperature department. We are at 91 degrees tomorrow for afternoon high temperatures. Those downpours, for the most part, stay up to our north and west. Alrighty, guys, I have to get my first break. I am painting the house too. I guess, well, I'm on the inside. It looks like you might be, Kimberly, where are you at? Okay, you said that Interlaken. Interlaken's a little more dicey. I'm not going to guarantee a downpour because these are so sporadic once they get inland. But that's a little scary. Let me take you up into Putnam County. And let's get you through Tuesday. So, I mean, like I said, there's downpours close by. There's downpour. That's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. There's a few downpours close by and a couple of stray showers moving through the afternoon. So Do it at your own risk. Again, it could be a little dicey out there. Alrighty, guys, I have to get my first break. When we come back, there is one area in the tropics, and somebody in the chat has pointed out something about the Caribbean. And there's a signal in the Caribbean, and there's an even bigger signal in the Caribbean later in the month of September. We're going to touch on that when we come back in just 3 minutes. Alrighty, guys, we are back. Hey, I'm glad you guys are a fan of the music. We have a nice, fun little playlist that we like to play when we go on our short little break. So I am glad that you whoops, hit the wrong button, but I guess we like the music so much, it's not a bad thing. Okay, anyway, back to the tropical front. So here is our next wave. Hurricane Center highlighted it. We'll likely see this turn red over the next day or so, meaning a high chance for tropical development. We're likely going to see at least a tropical depression out of this as it moves to the west. There it is. For reference, that's the continent of Africa, and it's likely going to continue to move towards the Northeast Caribbean over the next 7 to 10 days, and then likely lift up and out to sea. It may have a brief run-in with the Caribbean, but I think this one's turning away from the U.S. as well. So let's fast forward out a couple days, and again, we're going to be watching this. This is the model here, and there's just not a lot of support on this. This is the European model. The steering currents, again, getting this over. But the one thing I want to highlight, you're going to hear such... Man, if you, boy, what am I trying to say here? The fall is going to make a gigantic return there was a taste of it in the eastern two-thirds of the country. That front helped steer Aaron away. This front is even bigger, or this trough, this dip in the jet stream. So you see out here, this is a ridge of high pressure that's building over Southern California, northern Mexico, and that's helping to kink these height lines up. So you see those black lines that kind of make an N shape or an upside down U? That's what we call a ridge. On the eastern side, though, you see how it kind of dips down like a roller coaster? You know, a lot of people were talking about they were going to the amusement parks over the next couple of days. That's what we call a trough. So that trough in the east, we like that when we have storms that are north of the Caribbean coming at us from Africa, because it is going to make short work of it, and it's going to get it up and out of here fast. So I don't think that we have anything to worry about. I'm going to keep a close eye on it because every now and then they can get under and do weird things if they slow down. So we always watch it. But when you have a trough there that sharp, it's going to be hard. Wait, Elizabeth, did he really say that? Did he really say that? Did I unhook the music? I didn't unhook the music. But anyway, the steering current's favorable to force that away. Here's where we typically look this time of the year for development. Again, the Cabo Verde season, those storms that fire off of Africa and then work their way across the Atlantic, we are in peak season of that happening. Late August through the middle of September, those African waves are coming through. The most likely tracks of those storms are in purple there, which get them close to the Caribbean, close to the United States, and then curve out Bermuda in the crosshairs and slide on through and get up and out. Every now and then they connect, of course. We've seen storms hit in September on the East Coast, but the most likely scenario, because we start to get cold fronts to kick those things away. And yeah, that's what we like. But the other area we start to watch is down here in the Caribbean. This is towards the end of September. We start to look for that Central American gyre, that semi-permanent area of low pressure that is just an area of unsettled weather. And every now and then it kicks off lobes, if you will. And every now and then they can turn into tropical systems and work their way north. That's when we don't like to have a dip in the jet stream over the deep south or eastern two-thirds of the country, because those dips can yank those things up out of the Caribbean and then lift them north and east. That's what we don't like. And unfortunately, we've seen that a lot over the last couple of seasons. We saw that with Ian. We saw that with Helene. Milton was a weird one that developed in the Bay of Campeche, had part of tropical depression from the Pacific. So we've seen that, unfortunately, a lot. And I think this is something that we're going to be watching over the next several years to decade is this a trend with hurricane seasons that we literally cram basically the entire season into a 4 to 6 week section across the board? So I want to show you some of the ensembles real quick because I'm up against another break and I want to leave some time for comments here. What is going on? Okay. This is one of the ensembles, and they're starting to kind of sniff out something in the Western Caribbean. We're going to spend a little bit of extra time looking long range a little bit. It's looking a little long range. I think mid to late September is when we start to watch the Western Caribbean, Southern Gulf for those kind of shenanigans. Alrighty, guys, I had to take another short break. Enjoy the music. I'm back in 3 minutes. I swear I did not unplug any music. I don't know what he's talking about. We'll be back in 3 minutes. Alrighty, guys, we have about 4 to 5 minutes left. So if you have any questions, post that in the comments. Jody asking when the best time to get to the parks. Honestly, the next couple of days, I think the rain chances may increase a little bit through the week. Um, I don't think there's a time where you're going to be completely, at least the threat from rain is going to be completely zero. But I do think over the next couple of days, it's not going to be horrible. Again, just going to do a little dodging, and there's just going to be the opportunity for a few quick hitting downpours out there. So I don't think it's anything too crazy. Um, I'm going to look a little closer at this, but I think we might have the opportunity. Thursday morning, if you were outside, you felt there was a little subtle change. So we got just a little, I mean, it wasn't anything crazy. You could feel it though if you felt, oh, Elizabeth, you didn't make me feel bad at all. I didn't no, I was just messing around. Nope, didn't make me feel bad at all. So I think there's a shot with this next one to at least get maybe some minuscule relief, but then we're gonna get into the same thing where we are dealing with the repeated rounds of rain, things like that. So that's what we're gonna be doing, and everything like that. All right. So Meme Studio says, "What do you think for the weather this week?" Let me bust out the 7-day forecast. I have it in here somewhere. Here it is. This is what the 7-day forecast is, and again, the rain chances stay high. Now, I want to caution something here with those high rain chances. There's always more to the story when you're looking at rain chances in Central Florida, and this is on full display right now. The coast is getting whacked with heavy rain, but Denellen, McIntosh, Eustis, Mount Dora, Lakeland, Claremont, Mineola, we did pretty good today. We had a very nice day, relatively speaking. Um, so even though it's a 70% shot for rain over the next couple of days, most of that still is going to focus east of Central Florida. And by the way, I know I have a lot of people tuning in from across the state of Florida, and thank you guys for doing that. We try to focus on a big chunk of the state because we know there's a lot of people looking for a streaming option for weather, and we like to be that. Even though we focus on Central Florida, we talk a lot about the entire great state of Florida. So thank you again for doing that. You should have more sun as we get into the end of this work week. We'll break out of this pattern and we'll get in. You might even start off with some sunshine tomorrow. Kimberly opened the pumpkin spice today. It's happening. You can't fight it. My wife and I decorated for fall this weekend. We put our fall leaves up. We didn't break out the candles. We forgot the candles. Now that you mentioned that, we have some pumpkin foresty smelling candles that we need to get out ASAP. They're still in the closet, but I know where they are. Thank you, Kimberly, for reminding me of that. I'm going to do that right when I get home. Alrighty, guys. Thank you a ton for tuning in. It's great to see everybody. It's great to catch up. We are back here tomorrow at 9:30 for the show. And stick around. News 6 Plus, if you're on it. In a few minutes, you're going to get News 6 at 10. And then also back on regular TV, we are back at 11 o'clock with the news. We'll have the latest forecast for you. So we'll go into more detail on the 7-day forecast. You can plan your work day as Meme Studio asked for, or if you're planning to go to the parks, we're going to have that, all the stuff. So we will get into all that. And again, we're here Monday through Friday, every Monday through Friday, 9:30, News 6 Plus, and on the News 6 YouTube page. Great to see you guys. I'll catch you back here tomorrow, or how about in 5 minutes on News 6 at 10. See you guys.